So in 2021, fantasy power metal band Gloryhammer just decided that they were going to become the drama by firing their singer Thomas Winkler via email, which is the second worst way to get fired. The number one first way is always going to be text message. Following this, there was a bunch of controversy concerning the band. Screenshots from a chat room leaked with a bunch of misogynistic and racial slurs. Needless to say that as fans we expected better from the bands that we listen to. Like, you can go and fight galactic space wizards in your songs, that's fine, but please be nice in real life, okay? So they ended up apologising for the misogyny and racist comments. Thomas Winkler grieved for the best part of 24 hours before Seb Livermans of... Okay, I always mess up this band's name. Auden Ogan. I always want to call them Organ Odin. I'm sorry. So Seb was like,
"Hey, do you want to come do a band with me?"
And Tom was like...
Yeah, sure.
At least that's how it happened in my head. Thus, Angus McSix was born. So Gloryhammer is this epic fantasy power metal band where all the band members are like characters in this fantasy story. So Thomas Winkler played the hero, Angus McFife the 13th, and everybody else had like a role in the ongoing story that they were telling album after album. And what I particularly loved about this band was just how overblown the fantasy and then the sci-fi was. The first album was very much, medieval fantasy, but just taking things to a new level with like zombie unicorns, which is not something you see very often in fantasy stories. And the second album, they decided to take everything, all the fantasy messiness from the first album, and take it to space. And at the end of the third album, which also went to a different planet and space fleets and epic magic battles against space wizards, the hero Angus McFife the 13th died at the end. So the concept of Angus McSix basically takes the character and resurrects him like a sort of overblown epic Jesus. And a lot of fans, including myself, kind of saw a dig at Gloryhammer in some of the lyrics. Seb and Thomas admitted in an interview that this wasn't the case. It was just like the way the lyrics turned out. I was stabbed through my old armor made of leather, and then I came back one better. Glory left my hammer, but now I wield the swords. Just to, put things in some kind of context. The other potential dig that I kind of saw in this was the laser shooting dinosaur. Because this was something that Tom Winkler wanted to do with Gloryhammer. I think back in, way back, I remember seeing this interview where he was talking about it. But then another band that I'm not going to name stole the idea from him, which is really not cool. Like, by all means, inspire yourselves from other people's ideas, but don't just fucking steal them. So now he finally has his laser shooting dinosaur, which is amazing, and 7-year-old me is here for it. And just the name was like, oh, you were called Angus McFife back then, so now we're gonna make it Angus McSix, right?
The cheese fest, you gotta see the cheese fest. The cheese fest.
It's so stupid, and I'm here for it. So now he's come back as the Master of the Universe with pretty much the same kind of theme to the band where all the band members play a specific role. So Thomas is obviously the hero, Angus McSix with his wonderful golden armor. Seb is the evil villain Sebulon. They got Talia from Frozen Crown, Queen of the Amazons of Caledonia, and Manu from Rhapsody of Fire to be a berserker. I love it! I mean, come on. So it's time to save the universe again with a magic sword. So we get an overblown fantasy story with magic swords, goblins, evil wizards, and a laser shooting dinosaur. Seriously, if this band had been around when I was 7 years old, I mean, kids today just have so much cool stuff. I mean, we had cool stuff when I was a kid. We had He-Man and Princess Starla and gargoyles. Like, let's be real. We did have some really cool stuff. And it amuses me because for a time, like, being a fan of stuff like that was kind of, like, badly viewed by everyone else. Being a nerd and liking Star Wars was just wrong for some reason. It wasn't popular. But all of these, like, overblown fantasy heroes are having a massive comeback now. So now it's okay to come out as a fan of overblown epic fantasy. Speaking of which, how does one become an overblown epic hero? Is there, like, an academy that you can go to? And where do I sign up? Other than that, the music is just fantastic. Like, aside from the fact that this band has a top tier lineup. Like, these musicians are just mwah. I also like that Tom Winkler, like, wrote all the lyrics. So my favourite Gloryhammer song was Universe on Fire from the album Space 1992, Rise of the Chaos Wizard. And Tom wrote this song. And I really liked it for that. Like, he has a very specific songwriting style that kind of stood out from Chris Bauer's writing or the other band members' writing. It was, I don't know, it was very tight and precise and to the point. And when you compare it to the rest of the songs, to me, it just stood out so much. And now we have a whole entire album with just his writing, and it really shows. Like, it really does reflect the Universe on style, on the Universe on Fire style. Again, I'm here for it. And the music is glorious. It's power metal with, like, electro sounds to it. It's super fun and positive, a lovely adventure story. The album's also kind of fun because the songs on the album, like, aren't in chronological order, and there's this kind of, like, code that you have to decipher to figure out the actual order, which is kind of fun. And there's a whole lore, there's a whole story, and it leaves the door wide open for many a brilliant thing to come in the future. And I desperately hope that this is gonna just carry on and continue to be amazingly epic. My favourite songs on this album are Master of the Universe, Amazons of Caledonia, and Star-Lord of the Sixter Stellar System. This album definitely gets the Cate Blanchett safe seal because it is very, I think, easy to listen to if you're not into heavy metal. This is a beginner safe band. This also got to number 10 in the German album charts, I think, which is incredible. Congratulations for that. That would never happen in France. Like, that's wow. Love the cover, love the story, love the concept. Gloryhammer have also just released a new album with their new singer, which I haven't listened to yet, so I need to go and check that out. I've only seen the first video that they did, so yeah, I'll go and check that out later, I guess. So I strongly, strongly recommend Angus McSix and the Sword of Power. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.